I was gonna return with another game, but heck, I just felt like relaxing a little bit before. But then I ended up tuning in later than I had intended. So I wanted to try another art form that I'm really fond of, besides singing, is writing. I think I've updated everything. I don't know how I want to do this yet, to be honest. Wait, I have to close this. Oh, wait, I have the wrong thingy open. Yeah, how do I switch back to the other chat? Okay. Should be mine. Oh, and I need to leave someone a lurk. So yeah, though I haven't been working on this particular piece in a while, I'm not even sure if I want to finish it, but maybe. I don't know, I have some other ideas though. I don't know. Wait, where I wanted to drop someone a lurk that I thought was okay. It should be there. Okay, let's hope so. So yeah, what was I gonna say? I don't know how to do this yet right now. If I'm even gonna do it. I'm not a good speaker. But I love to write. I can sit down and just in very detailed and in slow yet progressing manner, I do like to put together novels and fiction and other kinds of writing too. But right now, on Twitch, I see it's a good forum also. I don't know how good of a forum it is for what happened? Something happened. Oh, hi. Hey. Yeah, I do. I do type too. Thanks so much for joining. Well, I just started this for the first time. I mainly game here, but nice. How are you? Yeah, me too. I do the handwriting, and then I somehow feel it more. I don't know. It's hard. Not all the time, but almost all the time. And then I do type it up afterwards. Yes. Really? Cool. What do you write about? I haven't even started. I was going to do some reading from some of my writing. Can't see because of the light, but yeah, I've been doing some bit of, like, I haven't written in a little while. Space opera, cool. I have a bunch of writings all over the place, but the most recent work I've been doing has been this sort of fantasy fiction that's kind of like a yeah, it's I'll start reading from it. Oh, cool. That's nice to hear. I have to check. What do you do? Like, I this is the first time I've ever tried. I do some singing and I do gaming on Twitch, but since I love to write, I thought I might as well see how it goes, and it's kind of cool. You can meet. I've heard that there is a writing community here, and it'd be pretty interesting to see how that goes. Meet up with other writers and stuff. Anyway, fanfic. Oh, cool. I like anime in the sense as, and I love the style, I love the drawings, but I don't watch any anime, to be honest. Like I don't even know if I've seen maybe like here or there. I play Genshin Impact, for example, but I've never watched really anime series. What kind of anime do you write about? Oh, cool. I'm pretty um Jujutsu Kaisen. Cool. Well, I'd love to check out your stream. I'm doing this entirely randomly right now. I was gonna play some more, but oh, cool, interesting. When do you stream usually? Oh, you don't? Okay. Okay. Too bad. I would have checked it out because I'm doing the first time. I don't even know how to do a like I'm thinking of a way to get to be able to have the pages on, but I haven't figured it out yet how to so you can see what I'm reading because I don't know how to do like I could put it either on me either on the camera. I can't read and but like how can I kind of where see the light is too bright. Maybe if I turn it off you can kind of see the writing like this. But I don't know how to right now. I don't know yet how to do both. Oh, it took me I started streaming games. Ah, yeah, I'll have to figure it out so that you can see the I haven't even seen a writing stream to be honest. What I do want to do is so that you can kind of see what I'm reading. So that's an idea. I just guess I have to find a way to I'm sure it's easy to hook up the phone with the PC and then be able to webcam and show my writing. That's a cool idea. Yeah, I'm just totally randomly. Yeah, I started streaming my gaming on in April and I didn't go on webcam until like maybe 2 months ago. So it took me a while. I was just like slowly easing into this whole streaming by just turning on the game and it's a little laggy too, so I don't have the best speed, but oh well. Doesn't really matter for now. I'll be upgrading eventually, but yeah, well, thank you for hopping in. That's nice. Um Now I'm all camera shy. Sheesh. I was like, I'm gonna read. Probably nobody's gonna be on, so I'll just like read to myself here and figure out how to do this at all. And now here we are. Yeah, now I don't, I don't know how to start. Do you play games at all, or do you just are you on Twitch for mainly writing purposes and artsy stuff? Just wondering, because it seems like a lot of people do. Oh, there you go. You don't stream those either? Yeah, it's. I think a lot of us are gamers here, and then we do things on the side like drawing, singing, writing. Oh, I don't even know that game. Right, currently I'm streaming like Tomb Raider and Final Fantasy and Star Wars: The Old Republic. That's my current thing. I don't even know. I've heard of the game, I think, but I can't recall. Let me do a search. Mankind Divide. Maybe if I see like a picture, it'll pop into my head of what. This reminds me of the film. Have you seen Ex Machina? The film. Wait, let me see. Oh, this okay. Oh, you play Star Wars. Yeah, that's why I instantly thought of that. I'm using like the Ava name too for my username. It's sort of inspired by that. It's one of my favorite movies. Oh, this game looks good. Cool. Yeah, I haven't tried that yet. Assassin's Creed I haven't tried, but I want to. You should join Star Wars: The Old Republic. But yeah, so I've been working on this novel here for a while, but I haven't written it in a bit. I don't know. It's pretty artsy. It's pretty. I'm gonna start reading from it. But yeah, is there a way? I'm just thinking now that I'm here to get like your voice. You know when like synchronized, subtitled. That's what I'm trying to say here. How to get your voice subtitled? Is there an app for that or something? There probably is. I just realized right now. So that as I read, you could kind of see the writing. I'm sure there's some bot or app for that. I should have looked into that before hopping on here. Yeah. Anyway, so fiction writing is a huge part of. Going to the options, it's not available for this stream. Maybe I have to somehow allow it. Yeah, closed captions. That's it. Sorry, I said I'm not a good speaker. Well, I'll see what I can do. I didn't really look into it. I just randomly decided to start streaming. Yeah, I'll look into it. I'm sure there's a way to get that. So I don't know. I'm also thinking of maybe sometimes streaming as I write, like how I do the. Oh, thank you so much for the follow, much appreciated. Yeah, let's start and see, like, just chatting away here. I don't know how you can read and chat. I guess I'll figure that out too. Yeah. So as I started saying, I'm not a big speaker, but I'm more of a writer. I don't want to start from the very beginning, but I'm going to start from like a few sentences down. This is the first chapter. I don't have a title. I have a title, a working title, but I don't want to reveal that because it kind of reveals a lot of the novel. This chapter is chapter 1. It's called Parting. So kind of think of a fantasy type novel, but there's going to be more to it, really. Wow, I don't know how to start. Thoughts similar to these reverberated in the mind of a young man of 28 as he contemplated the night streets from his window. See, it would be so nice to see it actually, like there, I'm right there. Anyways. He had been awoken by the harsh noises of bangs and thuds, and little comprehending to what he could attribute these sounds, he was forced to ascertain that something uncommon was indeed occurring by speculating what the view outside had to offer. Occupying the 4th floor of a building allowed him to gain a better overview of the happenings, despite the mild but ever-present fog of the city. From some corners, he saw glowing patches of red, indicating fires. From others, groups of dark figures intruding clusters of properties. The impossible notion that Chiron was being attacked was turning into reality before his very eyes. This could not last. This could not be true. This must be overcome somehow. On a sudden, his ruminations were banished as his eyes caught a group of a few figures appearing on the road below him, leading to his accommodation. His ears... Wait, what? I was just trying to see if I could somehow put something up, but you can't really. His ears, wishing they were deaf, listened to the pounds of trampling feet, growing louder with each step. The chill of the night pervaded the air, adorned with drops of rain, while the view of these approaching men froze the man to his position, finding himself unable to move until he cried out, "Celia!" and came to his senses. He forthwith ran out of his room, down a flight of stairs, and into a room with its door wide ajar. Despite realizing he would find it empty, his eyes searched it swiftly. Afterwards, he ran to the ground floor. Upon entering a spacious shop, he saw the tall, slender silhouette of a girl, 3 years younger than him, by the entrance in the company of a strong man grasping her arm. "Thomas!" cried her poignant voice as soon as she noticed him. He rushed to catch her free hand, and his full strength clasped it only to feel the heavy weight of constrainment on his shoulders. Thomas was held back by 2 simples. "She cannot be taken," was his powerless appeal as he continued to tighten his grasp. Their attachment was soon sundered as the 2 simples hauled Thomas away from his sister. Desperation rendered him the strength, despite his physique also being of a gaunt nature, to free himself for a moment from his captors, but there was naught he could achieve in that small interval of attained freedom. He was caught again and had no other alternative but to watch Celia's alabaster figure, draped in a grey nightgown, vanish like a ghost into the darkness of the outside world. She will catch a cold," he sighed. She will surely catch a cold," were the final words, spoken to unresponsive silence, before Thomas himself was shoved out of the shop, leaving behind a doll that had fallen onto the ground in the commotion. The pretty head of this figure nodded its head up and down, as though agreeing with the chatter of the falling rain. So that's the kind of introduction. I don't know. Is this how it goes? I don't even know how these streams go, but that's the beginning of it. It's so awkward, really. Yeah, I'm sure I'll find, like, I'll get into it and find a way to make it more interesting or whatever. I'll have to check out a few other. I feel like I want to, because I have some ideas for a new writing, and I'd like to also like show the process of it. But for a start, right now I'm just going to read from it. I was going to play Final Fantasy, but then I was so tired. I thought I'm just going to try this. Chapter the 2nd, Outland. Outland, its name deriving simply from the words old and land, was a relatively small continent comprised of 2 distinct parts. The western area, along with parts of the central lands, was an unpopulated and intraversable wasteland called the Barren Lands. The east was divided into 8 regions, called regions. I'm still working on the idea for the name, but right now I'm sticking with regions. Spiraling clockwise and ending in the 7th and 8th districts, with the 7th being the largest and containing the capital city called Chiron. This district was also bordered, with the exception of the 3rd, by all the other districts. Outland was not only the name of the continent, but also that of the country, which was governed by representatives elected by the public, called office holders. Outland was a loose confederation of the 8 districts. The office holders were members of the assembly, the federal government, and of the regional governments of each district, called councils. Though in its previous history, Outland, the continent, had been broken into separate countries, which had been at odds with each other, encompassing some wars and battles, it was now a unified country with democratic stability and solidified peace. Regardless of Outland's boasting of its possessions of beautiful cities and landscapes, there was a peculiarity that painted it perpetually bleak. due to several factors, the blue skies were successfully covered with sweeping veils of gray. Not only was the moderate climate, excluding the southeastern peninsula, cloudy and foggy, but the barren lands, though the remains and reasons remained unknown, were a constant source of a mild haze that would sometimes clear up, though rarely. Another principal reason for the occurrences was the presence of significant number of geysers. These indefatigable springs exorbitantly heaved dense masses of water and steam from their volcanic mount into the air at all times, and they were used to supply the districts with sufficient energy for heating and transport. The capital, Kairen, belonged to the 7th district called Tidal. It was a remarkable representation of Outland, though only the central territories of the country had distinct hilly terrains with some mountainous regions. Kairen's buildings blanketed these rolling lands like intricate patterns of gray, white, and blue. The elevating and descending grounds made the structure of the city center appear to topple each other. The apartments strewn alongside winding streets were usually from 3 to 5 stories high. And then I get a stream boo. Go away, stream boo. 1 second. I'm just gonna write something. Spicy, you still around? Wait, let me give you a follow back here before you leave. Where are you? Oh, cute. There you go. Cool. Okay. Just wanted to write something. Oh, really? Yeah, it is a... Yeah, I like old... Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I like the oldest style, and I mean, I've read a lot of... Oh, that's nice of you to... Oh, that's fun too. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh my gosh. I watched it so many times. I've watched all the Marvel films. Few of the DC, but I'm more of a Marvel fan with Thor and Loki and all of them, eh? And the Guardians of the Galaxy is fun though. Rocket and Groot. I am Groot. There, that's enough, right? All right. And I am Groot is it's just after Grogu, maybe. Grogu used to be, I mean, Groot, I used to love Groot a lot, and Moogles and Chocobos, but now Grogu is my top favorite fictional cute character. Oh yeah, I didn't finish writing here. No, never mind. Yeah, I know Loki's cool. I haven't seen, to be honest though, I haven't seen the the series. Like I've seen all the Marvel movies, but I haven't seen the Loki series. Is it good? Because I've heard good and bad things about it. Um, yeah, I started watching. Okay. How is it so far? I might end up watching that too. But so far I have so many things when I have free time. I have singing, I have writing, I have gaming, so it's like, oh, I want to do everything. Oh, cool. Do you connect with other writers too here? Besides just watching them, like you guys connect and do stuff together? It's pretty cool. I'd love to have a peek at your writing, but you don't stream, so I don't know how to. Cool, that's nice. I'm probably gonna reread and see how it goes. What's a Pomo writing streams? Like I'm new to the writing. I'm pretty new to streaming in general. I started in April and then I just oops. Oh. Oh cool. I'm so bad with like timing. I either oh that's a cool idea. Yeah, I should definitely like stop after. See, I'm trying to kind of stop too, but and the writing process too. I kind of thinking of maybe streaming that because it's interesting how it all comes together sometimes. Oh, there's an ad in sometimes coming up, so just so you know. I don't know how to get rid of that. I don't even know if it is. I'm not even. I've set up everything on Twitch myself, and it just so many things are still missing. So I don't know. It says there's an ad. Nope. No, I have not. I think. It always says there's an ad, but then some of my viewers who aren't even subbed, they're like, there's no ad. So okay, whatever. So I really have no idea how that's going. No, I haven't heard of Spirit City Lofi sessions. What is that? Oh? Wow. I'm gonna have to start checking out because I haven't even like looked at a writing stream. I was just like, let's try it. I was mainly at the gaming. Oh, okay, cool. Then you don't have to worry about that. Coolio. So I hate it when I'm just talking and then someone's like, I can't hear you. And then I feel awkward. Oh, right. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I live in a. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, the Pomo streams and the Lofi. Lofi games. Hmm. Wow, I'm so bad. Like I have my own little world. My I yeah, I'm not good at things like that. I'm a slow type. As soon as things are like timed or whatever, I'm oh cool. You can create a character and different thing. Oh, I see what you mean. I get it. Oh, cool. Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Oh, so you can add it to the stream? That's interesting. Oh, I'm looking at it now on search. Cool. These are really great tips. Thank you. Because right now this is my blank. It's not a tabula rasa, but it's definitely half blank, my stream. When I started on gaming Twitch, I just turned on the game. I had no idea how any of this worked. So what I did, I just turned on Twitch. Yeah, I will. Thank you so much for that advice. Much appreciated. I will do that. Yeah, it definitely throws up makes it more interesting. You should start streaming so I can watch you too. Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy is good. I'd love to. Oh, cool. That's a very interesting idea. For sure. Oh, cute. Neat. Let me just find a better place. I have the weirdest setup. My leg is falling asleep here. Okay. I'm all curled up. Yeah, I didn't know anything about Twitch and I just turned it on and I thought, oh wow. Yeah, I will check them out to be sure. What? 14 books? That's amazing. Cool. I'll definitely check out at least to, get a feel of. See, that's the thing with the same on Twitter X too. Like writers, they really make a good community, and they're really supportive of each other, which is great. And we get ideas and all that to help each other out. Yeah, it's amazing. I had a few, like, I've made a few mutuals too through that. So, yeah, I'm gonna need some music too and little games like that. Or just make it because it feels so, even when I'm gaming, definitely I'll just do a little reading and go ahead and thank you so much for the little advice. I truly appreciate that because I will look into it. Thank you. So I'll go back to a little reading now. This is a good idea too, to kind of like do a, oops, what am I pressing? To do a 10-minute break and right. Yeah, it was somewhere around here. Huh. Kieran's buildings blanketed these rolling lands like intricate patterns of gray, white, and blue. The elevating and descending grounds made the structures of the city center appear to topple each other. The apartments strewn alongside winding streets were, I think I read this before, it doesn't matter, were usually from 3 to 5 stories high. They had bluish gabled roofs and gray or ivory facades of stone and cement, embellished with reliefs and spiraling scrolls work. Walking amongst these premises would offer the citizens a sense of comfort and tranquility, a sense of belonging. It would often imbue them with a great fondness for their city. There was much to see, much to do. On a fine spring and late afternoon, in the Outlandian year of 707, Tomas also felt very much in love with his city. He was in a good mood, but then again, being the optimistic sort of fellow that he was very often in high spirits. He was currently strolling down one of the twisting and turning roads of Chiron, making his way to a crossroad where he was to meet his greatest companion and friend, Zayed. He lifted his hat and smiled at some of the passers-by with whom he was partially acquainted, but he kept his smile as he thought about the absence of haze that day, though the skies were as cloudy as always. The varying degrees of fog came at different intervals, and it was indeed considered to be a fine day when there was none. Okay, let's take a little. Tomas Knight, you do look ridiculous, exclaimed Zayed as he stood calmly and pointed at Tom's hat. Wait a minute, I rewrote this here. There's a little bit of, so it says, as he stood calmly, pointed at Tom's hat, and at their meeting place when his friend arrived. Okay, no, I see what I did there. Sorry, I rewrite it and then I scratch it out and I can't read my own writing. So, exclaimed Zayed as he stood calmly at their meeting place and pointed at Tom's hat when his friend arrived. The referenced headpiece was small and gray with straight sides, a flat crown, I forgot a lot of this, and narrow upturned brims at the sides. Wearing it tilted so half of the head was uncovered was the latest trend, and Tom had adopted it for the first time that same afternoon. The hat was a smart match to his silver suit consisting of a coat and slightly tight-fitting trousers. The double-breasted, buttonless coat, nipped at the waist, had its front reaching up to the neck, crossed over in a slanted manner, and was almost always adorned at the chest with the gold or silver chains of a pocket watch. This was the men's fashion at the time, characterized by pastel shades of blue, gray, and white, similar to the colors of the building, worn by both the lower and higher classes in the comparatively well-to-do districts of Outland, though the latter possessed materials of richer qualities. Tomas I still don't know if I want him Tomas, or I think it's Tomas. Like reading it aloud. I've read it aloud before, but I always vary between Tomas or Thomas. Tomas, I really like Tomas. Tomas's happiness could not be influenced by his friend's outburst of deprecation. His smile continued to dominate his countenance as he replied, "I look amazing and I feel marvelous." Zayed, who was slightly shorter than his tall, lean friend and of a more athletic build, replied with a sigh of resignation. These two friends owned entirely contrasting features. Zayed had a dark complexion of cinnamon-shaded skin, raven hair, black eyes, while Tom was of a paler coloration with deep-set, what did I do here? eyes of light green hues, and fair hair. He currently brushed the revealed straight, short tinges upwards with his fingers and laughed. Though he had a somewhat thick nose that ended in a bulky bump and a wider mouth, the proportions of his elongated face were so arranged as to make of him a comely and charming man with an age-defying boyish countenance. "Say, let's not tarry, or we shall miss our ride," said Tom, examining his pocket watch. The two men hurried down a few more streets to enter a more populated one. Horses and carriages were used for one form of transport, but the other mode for the masses was the cable car. These vehicles had no engines, did not appear to be attached to anything or pulled by any force, and so they seemed to magically glide on the streets of Cairan. In reality, they were placed on tracks of 2 rails, between which there was situated a cable slot. The cars used grips controlled by the conductor that held onto the cables, which traveled at a constant speed. This made it possible for the transported vehicles to ascend and descend the varying heights of hills at the same level of rapidity. To stop, wooden brakes were used. To stop, wooden brakes were used. It didn't make sense like that. To stop, wooden brakes were used when the grip released the cables. The less evident powerhouses scattered across the city gave the actual power to move the cables, which entered the structure where great winding machines rendered the motive. The great geyser of Cairan, one of the largest of Outland, powered these engines through the pipes in which hot water ran. Tomas's and Zayed's worry of being late produced the desired outcome of catching the cable car as they had hurried with their swift legs to the vehicle. Stop. They sat at the open sides of the car on benches that faced the buildings, now passing them by. Hey. Hi, Voodoo. Hello. Thanks for joining this little quiet reading night. As I was saying, it's one of my little fantasy novels, that one of my less serious works, but it's a lot of little, you would probably see it as amateur, but it's kind of the whole thing has it's a sort of steampunk area, so there's a bunch of little engineering stuff that I researched into, like the cable car that I was just describing. So that's why I mentioned that. I don't even know if I'm gonna. Yeah, there's a lot of it in this novel. This is what I wrote. I stopped for a while, but it's handwriting. All of it is handwriting. This is so far what I have of this particular. Let me see if I can show you. Let's turn the light off for a moment. Here, you can see. Yeah, you can see it better like this. So, see, it's all handwriting. And then I type it up afterwards, and then I start editing. Usually, what I do, you can't really see. So this is the handwriting part here. Like that. So, sorry, without need the light or else it's too dark. Yeah, thought of doing this. I don't know. I met a writer too. Oh, I'm an artist all through and through. I just have always been an artist at heart. Unfortunately, it's not something that can make us a great fortune unless artists are always known to. I do some drawing. I can draw. I have artists in the family. But I don't do it I don't paint really. little drawings and stuff. That's why when I was doing the emotes, I have like ideas and stuff. So yeah, here the. So I don't know when you popped in, but this is where I'm describing the cable cars, because this is a whole like fantasy world, so kind of like a steampunk area where it's like, I don't know if you heard this part I was describing. Maybe it's better if you didn't. This made it possible for transported vehicles. The way that between the two rails where they situate the cable slot, and that's how the cars, they use the grips controlled by the conductor that hold onto the cables, which travel at a constant speed. This made it possible for the transported vehicles to ascend and descend the varying heights of hills at the same level of rapidity. Stop wooden brakes were used when the grip released the cables. And then the less evident, you probably know, powerhouses scattered across the city gave the actual power to move the cables, which entered the structure where great winding machines rendered the motive. The Great Geyser of Chiron, one of the largest of Outland, powered these engines through the pipes in which hot water ran. So, Tomas and Zayed's worry of being late produced the desired outcome of catching the cable car, as they had hurried with their swift legs to the vehicle stop. They sat at the open sides of the car on benches that faced the buildings, now passing them by. I tried to come earlier, remarked Tomas, but one last customer arrived and I was unable to leave. Zayed, in an effort to prove he was unaffected by having to wait a little longer than the discussed appointment, shrugged his shoulders. He didn't even purchase anything, laughed Tomas. Not one single timepiece. You win some, you lose some, was Zayed's stoic reply. I am a winner, Zay, and will always be a winner, said his friend cheerfully. It took only a few more stops for the grip person to halt the cable and arrive at the busiest hub of the city. Ah, we are here, the end of a long week and the start of a great fun, exclaimed Tomas, showing his friend to the entrance to their favorite tavern called Wall of Stones. I'm going to read a little more, and it's getting late again. Chapter the 3rd, Wall of Stones. Let's see. So far, I wrote about. I just introduced this fantasy technology novel, where there's. I'm also thinking of doing maybe streams with like the whole writing process, but right now I'm just reading up from it. So it started off with someone's sister getting taken from her brother by some guys called Simplays, and there's fire all over this certain city called Chiron. And then the second chapter spoke of how this city is technically it's always engulfed in fog and cloud. Cloud almost always, fog often, if not always. And but it's a very peculiar little place. Yeah, that's it's definitely I want to do that. I haven't written in a while, so it takes a little while to get back into it, but I'm good at writing. I'm good at sitting down and just putting it all together. But when I have to talk, I'm a horrible speaker. I'm just like, well, I can't. I'm not a speaker, but I'm a writer. So whatever is there, it's in my writing. It would be interesting to kind of see how it all comes together. I definitely think a lot because it's all in bits and pieces in your head, and then putting it all together, it's fun. It's kind of like Tomb Raider. It's like a puzzle. You kind of have all the ideas, and then you have like general ideas of what you want, and then you try to get down to little parts, and then you all put it together. And then kind of sort of braiding the threads of the whole thing into a single Yeah, that's the interesting part. That's what's fun. And then when it doesn't come together and you get stuck and you're like, oh, you're in a loophole. What do you do? It's like today's Tomb Raider was, oh. I'm going to read this Wall of Stones. It's a little tavern where Tomas and Zayed, they're two completely different characters. They're like, but they're the best friends. One of them is of a darker complexion, dark hair, and more reserved and quiet, sort of silent. The other guy, he's this fair blonde, happy-go-lucky Tomas, and these guys are the best of friends. So that's how it starts. Wall of Stones had once been a prison cell, but was now a quaint little pub. Its popularity was owed to the remnants of the old jail, which highlighted the place in comparison to the other more commonplace taverns. It had a few high and small windows decorated with rusty bars. Its walls were, as the name of the spot implied, of stained stones, and what used to be a prison bed hanging from the wall by iron chains was now altered in such a way that it served as the main bar, filled with varieties of drinks. I really like this idea of how there's this bar, this tavern, but I wanted it to be a little bit sort of not creepy in that sense, but a little off. So I was like, yeah, let's turn a prison cell into a bar. And then on the wall, like I thought of a prison cell and how I could alter that into a bar, into tavern. So the idea of having a bed hanging from the wall and then putting the drinks and everything on that, I found that to be kind of weird and funny in a way. So it used to be a prison bed hanging from. I know it really. I really had fun with putting that together. Several tables and chairs of metal scattered around the pub were fashioned to remind the customers of hearing tables, only in smaller versions. The area was dimly lit by the lights twisted into the center of the rectangular tables. Near the bar was situated a piano on which its musician was playing mellow tunes. As depressing and destitute as the tavern looked, it was an establishment visited by the more privileged members of society, mainly comprised of regulars who usually occupied the same tables. So I also wanted the concept to be like, okay, it's a worn down kind of prison cell area, right? But it's not going to be for the rich, for the people who kind of find it a novelty to be in a more worn down area and to find themselves as they can kind of be like, oh, I'm going to this exclusive tavern that looks like a crappy cell, but it's just for us rich people. Sort of, that was the idea. So even do another twist with that. So as depressing as it was for the privileged members of society, mainly comprised of regulars who usually occupied the same tables. This would, however, hardly be a cause for anyone's concern, as Cairanians were renowned for their punctuality. Well now, said Tom, after he had ordered the usual round of drinks, my curiosity, as you know, is really getting the better of me. It is the end of the week. We're here at Wall of Stones, and you owe me a full account of your endeavors. Zayed fixed his eyes on the anticipatory expression of his friend, studied the all too familiar lineaments, waited a few minutes, and finally said, I'm not certain, Tom. I do know that I told you with almost certainty that I would tell you today, but I'm not sure. You do not trust me? Was the inquiry posed to awaken pity. Tom, no, do not begin with that, reprimanded Zay. He was replied with an outburst of laughter, followed by, very well, I know you trust me with your life, and I also know you are not permitted to disclose any information pertaining to this part of your work. Not even your own mother, but... Yes, but, Zayed sighed, you know full well I want to share it with you, and you know that I will. A long silence followed. The two friends, I don't even remember what comes here. Oh, right, I remember now. The two friends, both of the same age, had known each other for nearly 7 years. Zayed had moved to Kairan in 700 from the 3rd district Soran, located at the southern peninsula of Outland. Its central city, Arandis, produced some of the best engineers and craftsmen of the country, and Zay was one of them. As soon as he finished his studies with outstanding achievements, he was offered a position in the Vehicle Company and Society of Kairan, the most prestigious of its kind, where he worked on all manners of transportation. The friends first became acquainted when Zayed visited the night clock and watch store to purchase a pocket watch. Being brand new to the city, he was offered not only a wealth of information regarding the capital by the friendly and loquacious clockmaker, but also the personal accompaniment of Thomas that would show some of its finest sights, and thus began their friendship. The server arrived and placed the 2 drinks on the table, disrupting the pervasive silence. Zayed took a sip from his tall mug filled with a dense sienna-colored substance. I still cannot see how you can drink that, said Tom, wrinkling his nose. What you are having is not a drink at all, retorted Zay as he peered into the other glass containing a beer of a golden shade. It is water mingled with a few drops of alcohol. Water! Exclaimed Tom, glad to have now found a topic with which to fill the air, yet not to approach the subject of Zay's secret plans for the time being. He believed it would not take much longer for them to be revealed to him of Zayed's own accord. I remember, he continued, it was on a fine spring day that I took my sister, who was much younger at the time, on a picnic to the river Turano. Oh, Tom, not this story again. I've heard it so many times. We were sitting upon a fluffy blanket, swept over the pavement in the midst of other picnicking parties. Celia was reflecting on the sparkling waves of the river, continued Tom, heedless of his friend's words, when I decided to address her in a serious tone. My dearest sister, I said, I am fond of you to distraction, but I am convinced that you think too much and speak too little. Her smile faded, and she released a weighty sigh. I saw her analyzing my face and searching my eyes. My character was easily read by her, and I was eager to understand her better than I did. She threw her eyes back to the river and asked me to look at the water with her for a while. I was perplexed as to how this request concerned my comment, but without hesitation, I accomplished the assignment. What do you see? She asked, not losing sight of her view. Not knowing what reply was expected from me, I answered her with unequivocal honesty. Water. Celia's attempt to suppress the hint of a smile was of no success, and there was no surprise when I asked her the same question in return. She then began to describe the reflections of the birds in the air. I was only too proud to acknowledge that I could see that as well. And she continued, these reflections seem to me to encompass a fading reality, for they become reflections no more, but transform into creatures of the sea that have a purpose other than to fly in search of food or rest. No, they fly in search of a purpose. I didn't know what to say to that. She asked me again what I could see. Well, there are lots of clouds. Oh, and Can you see that in the water they do not appear as clouds, for they renounce that given form and manifest themselves as vast continents, islands, each with a story to tell? The consequence of the silence that followed was but another inquiry. Anything else? She asked. Well, there's the gray sky. But that gray is not simply gray. It manifests its true shades of azure, turquoise, even captivating pink. It is almost transparent, and in its ever-changing colors there radiates some mysterious power, yet leading us again somewhere else. And can you still see something in it? What else can you see in these waves? I knew my dearest sister was attempting to open her soul to me, but I felt the more she was revealing to me, the less I understood. I am certain she drew no logical conclusions herself, and all she could make logic of was the fact she lived in an abstract world, and she expecting nothing more of me than to understand that actuality. In the meantime, I was collecting all the data I had received, and I tried to put them together. 2 and 2, after all, could only make 4. I was persuaded to believe I could altogether sweep her away with my words and convince her that I fully comprehended all she was trying to communicate. But as I opened my mouth to proclaim this mutual understanding, only one single, barely audible word escaped my lips. Water? Syed looked at Tom and said, "It's absolutely top secret." I know, said Thomas. A pause. "I know," with emphasis. "Well, you know how most of our machinery works with the hot water and steam derived from geysers? Now, imagine smaller machinery called engines. Steam engines." And this is where I'm going to go and leave. Yeah, it's quiet. I got a viewer who's writing too, so that's cool. She says there's like a bunch of writers to get together and discuss ideas, so that's fun. Well, I'm gonna leave, and I still have to put my singing things together too. It just sounds horrible. I was listening to it. I need some kind of music, and I need to get away to. Oh, thank you for joining. I'm always happily coming on the stream like nobody's gonna be here. So I'm like, feel all safe, and then there's someone around to make me more nervous. But yeah, no worries. I will continue some other time. Thanks for joining, and have a good night. And it's so late again. Oh, I was going to go to sleep after Tomb Raider, but then I'm like, nah, I want to try to read this. All right, have a good night, and thank you for anyone who has joined. I'll try to find a way to make this more interesting. Au revoir.